Greetings, adventurers, and welcome to GrowedUpGeek Gaming, your narrative and roleplay focused home for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition live play campaigns. It is Wednesday nights, which means we are here for our high-level limited campaign, Dynasty of Dragons. We will meet everybody involved, do a very quick recap, and jump right into what is going to be a very big episode tonight. I'll start. I am Manny at GrowedUpGeek on your social medias, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, and YouTube. We are live here on Twitch, twitch.tv/GrowedUpGeek on Tuesdays and Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. Those videos are then available on our YouTube channel the following Monday and Tuesdays. If you like what we do here, give us a follow, sub, high five, handshake, finger guns, fist bump, whatever it is to show your support. We really appreciate it. Now, enough about me. Let us meet our amazing Wednesday cast. Let's start with our bard. Nick, tell us about Banquo, and in a situation where storytelling is kind of a requirement, how is the bard going to handle that?
So Banquo is a lore bard, so telling stories is his whole deal. So he's enthusiastic about that, but he's also worried about what the hook is, or what the catch is. And so he's trying to figure out if he needs to selectively pick what kind of story he tells, or if he should just play it straight.
Yeah, know your audience. Maybe that will help going forward.
Yeah.
All right.
It's the Fae, so they might just steal my story or steal my name or something.
Plagiarism is everywhere. Like, man, I wrote this book. Whatever, bro. All right, awesome. Let's slide over to our noble, vengeful paladin, who last week took a special vengeance against somebody who threw a sword in the lake. And retribution was swift, and it was brutal. Raz, tell us a little bit about Daemion, and as the one who was absolutely the most guarded going through the feywild, don't look at anybody, don't talk to anybody. Whatever you're about to encounter apparently is hell-bent on hearing a story. How's Daemion going to handle
that? This is the opposite of don't talk to anybody. Story? Fuck nah. It's been thinking it's got to be some sort of trick. Maybe they're gonna, if I tell a true story, they're gonna steal my memory, something. I don't know. So he's been sitting here trying to come up with something, like a fake story to tell, but he's no bard. You know what I mean? It's gonna be a disaster. It's gonna be bad.
Hold on. If tells true story, steals memory. Cool. Thanks. Love it.
And makes it into an anagram.
Yes. All right. Speaking of too clever by half, our good friend Robin, playing Tess tonight. Very the opposite of Daemion, and just more than happy to spin a little yarn to anybody willing to listen along the way.
It wasn't anybody. It was a dying treant, and he seemed pretty legit. And I don't think that he lost her memory yet. So who's really winning?
Which is the absolute standard when dealing with the Feywild. Seemed pretty legit. I mean,
Yeah, he seemed like a nice guy, and then he died. So I don't see, really no consequences.
I mean, no harm, no foul. What's he gonna do about that story? Nothing. That's what. Now, after braving your way through the lost woods, once your solution was dumbed down to my level from yours, now something absolutely wants to hear a story. What's Tess feeling about having to legit tell a story to something maybe really powerful?
Yeah, a lot less trusting, and not really sure what the consequences of telling this one would be. She took a gamble of that was also a little bit yeah, but I want to touch the thing. And now the gamble's looking a whole lot more like, no, we already touched that thing a little bit and it didn't like, and the stove was hot. Don't really want to do that twice. As far as what she suspects is behind the request this time.
Okay. Well, we'll see. All right. That is our amazing cast. I am so blessed to have them here every week for me to torment and for them to in turn torment me. And with no more further ado, tonight we present episode 13 of A Dynasty of Dragons, A Dynasty Recounted. So last time, after making your way correctly through the not so cleverly disguised cardinal directions through the feywild, the party encountered a couple of creatures who desired stories, as well as an Eladrin army that they had heard all throughout their time in the woods, at which point, not really interested in what they're there for, right? That's your prevailing opinion? Nothing to do with you?
I think that's the prevailing opinion Daemion has about just about everything.
Word.
About the armies coming in?
Yeah,
the
just
scouts?
those little Eladrin that you encountered, the 9 of them.
Tess is pretty sure they're there for the same thing. Like, hey, this still kind of lines up, and it's just, all right, let's get a hustle on. Like, let's make sure that they don't know that this is where we went. Just doesn't really want to deal with the conflict there.
Fair enough. After making their way past a small little party, 9 Eladrin, seemingly on the search for what they classified as a weapon, the party came across a large Fey-themed structure in a remote part of the woods, as if it had been deliberately hidden back there. And along the way, they encountered 2 beings in armor, very familiar to them, that usually signified the paladins guarding a dragon vault. After inspection of Daemion's genuine sword, the paladins threw it in the lake, had a good laugh about it, at which point the party was not to tolerate the disrespect to Daemion, and upon dispatching the paladins, more laughter ensued, as well as the realization that perhaps these 2 paladins were not as they seemed. And so with the alluring question of, will you tell me a story, the party stands in the woods facing a large door of this structure. And with that, we'll turn it over to you. What would you like to do as this just uproarious child's laughter just rings throughout whatever it is? It is the funniest thing they have ever seen in their lives. The paladins have faded away to swarms of butterflies, and before you stands a giant structure with an enormous door.
Would like to develop discomfort with children's laughter.
Okay, so like I know that what little clues we found are all pointing us in this direction. This is where we feel like we need to go to solve these mysteries, yeah? But on the other hand, I don't want to.
But what if no?
Yeah. What if we just don't do that?
If the other 2 are hesitant here, though, I think this is kind of where Tess is probably the more willing one to push through and kind of take point, head in. So
I don't tell stories. I make stories.
Nice.
And more often than not, I end stories.
The last chapter. In we go?
Yeah.
In we go.
I guess Banquo will hit himself with a little bit of bardic guidance and move on out.
Okay. You make your way across the bridge. The laughter subsides and the childish voice returns. Ooh, I can't wait to hear a story. And you hear clapping. As you open the door, everything appears as it always has in these vaults. Oops, probably gotta shrink it. Maybe. Boom. Perfect. You make your way in. It is the same size, composition, build as the previous dragon vaults you have encountered. This one obviously themed slightly different. Large trees, bioluminescent leaves litter the floor. On the far end, a gigantic door. And this time, again, two humanoids, half-elf, appearing in the armor clad of the paladins of past dragon vaults. And just like the ones you saw outside, they look the same, just slightly older than the ones you encountered outside.
This is a very important question.
Yes.
Do they appear to be the same people?
As each other?
No. As the ones we just fought. Like, are you just recycling tokens, or are they literally the same people?
They are literally the same people. These are just older than the ones from outside.
I'm terribly sorry to both of you. Daemion is already sprinting over at the one that threw his sword in the lake. This is not something that I had foreseen as a possibility, but he laid down his vow of enmity against that guy. There is no alternative.
Well, was that a guy before, or was, like, I don't think that was a person before. Like, and this is a person. So does the vow of enmity, is that like a compulsion kind of deal, or?
Not officially.
Because I don't think that's the same guy. Or at least I don't think we've seen evidence of that yet. But
if he looks like the same guy.
Just older.
How much older?
1 billion.
Like graying at the temples, no longer like the same strong.
A lot older.
Not like a lot. We're not talking like the end of the lifespan, but very clearly noticeably longer.
Not a lot for elves or half elves, but like significant. Basically.
Sure. The number to a human is astronomical. In the course of their lives, it is not much, and is not towards the end of their lives. This is not, the final hurrah. They're seasoned.
Salt and pepper.
Veterans. OGs, that kind of thing. Not,
I just don't know. This is not something that I had foreseen. Like, he is a vengeance paladin, man.
Especially when it's my own shit that needs avenging.
He's usually very cool-headed, but there every once in a while, there's that one person.
Can I sense motive on Daemion? Like, having known him for like a decade, and be like, is he still trying to brawl?
That's my secret. Always angry.
I mean, do I know him well enough that 4 does it?
Oof.
Hey, bro, you seem kind of mad.
Yeah, like, just kind of, I don't know, up to you.
Why are you breathing so hard?
What's that grinding
just
sound? Oh, shit, is that your teeth? Are you okay?
I'm just like, hey, isn't that your friend?
Hey, it's that guy again.
Yeah, I just kind of put a hand on Daemion's shoulder. Like, hey, we're all right.
Okay.
hobble off after him.
Yeah.
I guess
as we-
what happens in the next few seconds is gonna be real fucking important, though. I tell
Okay.
you that.
As you quickly stride, would that be a fair assessment of your pace? Or is this more...
Yeah.
Okay. Faster than that?
I mean, I'm not sprinting.
Okay.
You know, I didn't like take the dash action. I didn't do anything crazy like that. But he's a moving with a purpose.
Got you. Cool. All right.
Banquo is kind of hanging back because he's still in bit, like looking around.
The purpose with which he is moving is apparently obvious to everyone except Tess.
Okay.
And I'm
So-
like, hang on, let's slow down, but I don't know why.
As you very clearly, in a very determined manner, make your way towards the two half-elves, you're going to notice the one to the north, your left, as you walk towards them. Is going to be dark-skinned, very bulky. You'll see the armor familiar to the two previous dragon vaults. You'll notice this one is the set of armor adorned with, looks like stars, constellations. The one on the south side of the door, your right as you face it, darker skinned elf, kind of strong. His armor adorned with look like lizard scales, just kind of inlaid all over the bluish metallic plate. They both reach for the swords on their hips. Daemion, you'll recognize it as one you have that might still be damp. And they half pull them. On whose authority do you come here?
Oh man, Robin just gone.
Oops. I had my dice in San Diego, so I had to get my D6s out. So just deuces.
Just, I looked down and there just was no trace.
Pass without trace.
Adios, muchachos. I am not a part of this beef.
These dudes don't even freaking talk like feywild people, man. They just make me mad.
You guys aren't on brand.
Let's do this over.
A game of riddles.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. On the authority of the Lord's Alliance, and you have to ask for some kind of sign that you guys are real people and not the illusions we saw outside.
They're like, they look at each other. Real people. Yeah. That's the child. He's harmless-ish, but you know he's powerful, and he gets bored, and he likes to play pranks. I hope it wasn't anything too malicious.
Daemion over here taking notes. Target of vengeance is the child.
I'll just make sure to dig the grave real shallow.
And as they hear the Lord's Alliance, they kind of look at each other. We're going home. They're here, and they look closely. They look at Tess. They look at Daemion. They're our relief to our watch. They have chosen new members of the order, and we can go home. And you see like this big smile on both of their faces.
That's not quite what's going on. We were sent to investigate a breach.
Oh.
Yeah.
And they look at you. You have the sword.
Yeah, there's been other breaches.
only members of our order can wield those.
I'm not much of a wielder. Like,
Still, you carry it.
That's a different word.
I mean, the ones that bestowed this upon me were quite literally at death's door.
They were preparing you to relieve their watch. And they look at each other. We'd hope you were here to do the same for us. It's been a long year. I worry my wife and my child have forgotten me, and I need to return home.
What was the year when you got here?
He gives a number, and it is 1,600 years in the past.
That's rough, buddy.
Yeah.
You just see Banquo looking kind of awkward, like.
It's that shifty-eyed puppet meme.
Yeah.
Me who knows what year it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Before Tess goes any further, like with the encounter we just had, like, do I get the vibe that these guys are real? Like, because they didn't give me any sign that they're actual people, or do I feel like maybe this is another illusion? Is that wisdom save, or is that?
You can give me an insight check into them as they talk.
Okay, she's gonna tap herself with the guidance. Ooh. At 20.
Okay.
24.
They seem exceptionally sincere, and as Daemion noted before, they do not seem to be of the feywild. So that kind of, inherent kind of trickster thing isn't present here. They seem to be here in the same way that you are.
And the copies were very, like, hee giggly, so that's fair.
As you enter this place and the more you kind of talk to them, Tess, you're going to begin to feel better. Your general condition, just the kind of like exhaustion and the everyday things that just add on top of each other, are going to be slightly relieved, and noticeably so. Walking a little more upright, you just feel a little heartier. Daemion, as they talk and you see what is very living embodiments of what you've seen as a pile of bones, and they were undead, like literally undead last time, right? These are the embodiment of, and the living embodiment of what you've been at least partially searching for. Your need for just absolute vengeance for once has more of a narrowed focus, and almost as if there is a more kind of focused task than just vengeance in general, righting wrongs.
Okay, so I think our biggest problem right now is that we couldn't relieve you if we wanted to, because there's 4 other openings right now in other vaults. This one's watched by you guys right now. There's no one watching the other. Melvin and Lister I don't know if that was the names of the cities back then. It's
Yeah,
been a
but
little bit.
those ones, there's nothing to guard there anymore anyway.
You're not wrong. Well, there's kind of something to guard in Melvon.
I think
I
they
d-
can take care of themselves.
Yeah, I meant as far them getting out is we don't have there's a non-zero chance that they can escape. Like they turn to dust. Sorry, we've been dealing with a lot of stuff and haven't had a lot of time to figure it all out.
Doesn't help that everyone keeps lying to us.
Yeah. If we can kind of redirect, has the child been acting differently lately? Can the child hear us right now?
He can most certainly hear us.
Is he here?
He most assuredly is not. Did you ask if he was human?
Say that again.
Did you ask if he was
Manny.
human?
Here.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he is here. He is in his quarters as he has been for the entire year that we've been here. He doesn't get out much. He enjoys being by himself. It seems most people come to see him. They have a quick visit and then off they go. But he hasn't left here for the whole year we've been here.
What does he do with the stories?
Whoa, back up. Say that again.
Which part?
He hasn't left in how long?
In the year that they've been here.
They think that it's been a year, Daemion. Yeah. It might be easier to kind of cut through what we need to and then have that talk later.
They deserve to know.
I know. It's been a lot more than a year, and I'm sorry to be the bearer of that news. I don't know if they told you relief was supposed to come, or when it was. Most of the world doesn't think that dragons exist, because that's what you're guarding, right? That's what the child is.
Yes, and what do you mean? What do you mean they don't exist? It was a huge thing. It just ended last year. The culling. We all hunted them down, and then those of us who saw a greater purpose afterwards were tasked with this by an old man and his very pretty, blonde, but disinterested wife. And we were told to be here and that this was a dynasty, an order that was to maintain life as we knew it.
Nobody's sighted a dragon in over 1,600 years.
They've become a myth.
Give me a persuasion check, because my man's not going to believe you.
I bet. I am a bard.
Can I give him
Oh
advantage?
my god, he doesn't need it.
Can I
Yep,
do it anyway?
I'm gonna roll mine. That'll be a 27.
Okay. And they look at each other. It can't be 1,600 years. We don't live that long. No,
You're in the feywild. things are different here.
Yeah, because Glister, now that I think about it, Glister was generations of people. Like generations.
The one on the north side, with the kind of star patterns on his armor, points
I'm
to
gonna start closing the distance.
the ceiling, which is, as it always has been, like the night sky, all lit up with constellations. I've tracked the stars' movements since we got here. It 1600 years. It's impossible.
Manny, do I know enough about like the different planes to know like about any temporal differences between them?
Just
like,
mostly just probably the general assumption about time passing differently.
Gotcha. Yeah, just it's a lot to take in, but things do happen differently here. This is a unique situation among the vaults we found, but in the first we found well, maybe I don't need to get that morbid.
Let me slow down.
yeah. It's fun to play like the can't keep a secret thing, because like if I fuck up my role play, it's all right. It's a flaw.
Let me ask this. Where are you two from?
We are from the countryside of Gathanon? What was the Aglarond? We were chosen during the culling to lead, and we slayed the dragon here, and upon what we thought was the end, the old man showed up and commissioned us and bid us take these oaths. And seeing as how we had already served the land and saved the land, we decided to dedicate our lives to this order, knowing that others had done the same, had pledged their lives and their duty in order to maintain safety for all living things.
This old man you keep mentioning, who is that?
I don't know. He seemed important. Everybody listened to him. Looked like a beggar. Stringy, like, hair. Carried 3 birds on his shoulder. Only thing we really remember was his wife. She didn't talk much, and she didn't really seem like she wanted to be there. But she definitely looked really important.
What was her name?
Oh, God. What was her name? Like, you can see the other one thinking for a second. Gwendolyn. Lady Gwendolyn, that was it. Yeah.
Saw that coming.
Yeah.
I thought it was gonna be
God.
Harold.
Yeah. Whew. She was pretty. Yeah, she was. But man, did she seem bored. But the old man,
sounds like her.
The old man came down, met with us, instructed us to stay here, made us take the knee and swear an oath. And the one to the north, I, Baron, swore the oath of the Watcher. And the one on the south, I, Farrell, swore the oath of the Dragon Slayer. And in that year, we've been here waiting for our relief.
I hate to put it so bluntly, but you were abandoned here.
Gwendolyn lied to a lot of people. Out of just kind of piecing things together. In those oaths, were there any names?
No, just to a task and an ideal of protecting all living things.
In the war, did the name or title Illithrax or the Iconoclast ever cross the war tables?
They look at each other. You are our relief. You carry the swords. You know the names. You know the purpose of this place.
Less relief and more of an heir to a bad situation.
As you stand there, kind of pondering, and the equally kind of ponderous looks of Baron and Farrell, the childish voice once again fills your head. I'm waiting.
Is this, sorry, are we not showing enough of a story for you right now? It's a whole Greek Sword Coast tragedy.
What exactly were you put here to guard?
The child, the object.
Both, huh?
We are to protect the child against anyone who wishes to steal the artifact and usurp the power of the child. And also, should he ever become corrupted, we are tasked with preventing his escape and the destruction of the surrounding countryside.
We should be on guard a bit. I'm pretty sure that those guys looking for whatever they're looking for, I think that it's this. I don't think that they know the specifics, but I think he might be reaching out to people planting seeds.
You mean the child?
Yeah, absolutely. We heard him all the way in the city we were staying in was Aglarond, right, Manny?
Yes.
Yeah. We were
No,
hearing him all the way in
Velatzalar was the
Aglarond.
town. Aglarond is the country.
Got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
like I said, Jesus, forgotten to run it. Help me out, man.
It's clearly a telepath. Strong one.
And an illusionist, which can tie in very closely with enchantment and would explain the Ladrin a bit, maybe. Did you ever fight this guy before? The child back during the war?
Oh no.
Or like anything like him?
He was here upon swearing our oaths. We did not put him here.
Have you ever seen him?
Oh sure. He's quite delightful at times. We had lives and we had feats and tales that he's loved. We fought in the culling, and so we recount him with tales. And while we're secluded and secretive, people do make their way here intentionally and otherwise, and we receive them. We ensure his safety, as well as the safety of our visitors. And
Do they go? Oh, go ahead.
genuinely loves to visit and loves to hear tales.
Do they visit in that room or out here?
Sometimes both, sometimes out on the bridge. We try not to let him get too far. Says the bridge makes him sleepy if we let him outside. So it's usually in here.
How many visitors have you received in your time here?
Look over. A couple dozen.
When was the most recent? Besides the did the tree ant come here? Can't remember if he said.
Oh, he was here not too long ago. Didn't look too well.
He passed.
Oh wow, he was just a sapling when he first started coming here, and just I didn't realize trees could grow so big so quickly.
They
can't.
Yeah, how long do tree ant, or would Tess know how long tree ants live? I think she did pretty well on her knowledge check before.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot longer than his lifespan of sapling to tree beard in a year.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mean to be glib, but that's kind of backs up the whole 1600 years thing.
Banquo starts to kind of look around at the walls and the trees, and it's like there's some sort of time enchantment here. There's something. This doesn't seem like normal feywild shenanigans, which I'm not too versed on, but this seems more deliberate, more localized.
Yeah. Are there any, like, if there were to be, Manny, somebody casting a spell like this, that time progressed that slowly, spitballing without her sitting and doing every calculation, which would probably take a while, how many mages or what level of power would it take to do what's appears to have been done here? Like, would this have to be a by design thing, or could a powerful enough mage do it?
Give me an Arcana check.
Go for the galaxy again. Galaxy's doing me right tonight. 24.
Okay. You can see two possibilities. Could this simply be the difference of perspective as it pertains to the concept of time passing differently in the Feywild versus the prime material? Or if this was to be a magical spell, the number of wizards required would be astronomical, that would border on the combined powers of almost like a god.
You didn't really finish that answer about Illithrax and his involvement.
We know of him, and only members of our order, and then they look at each other. Have you touched the artifact?
Have you?
We have not. You can see him kind of...
It's possible. Yes.
And we see that you live to tell the tale.
Oh, it tried to kill me.
Yeah, that hurt. Yeah.
We know little...
We're in a...
God.
We're in a situation where we needed answers. We're kind of on a crunch here as far as getting this whole thing contained.
We know little of the artifact's purpose. short of its ability to control the child, should one attune to it. We have not dared pick it up, lest we become corrupted. It was one of the things the old man was insistent of, that we not touch it.
It was the right decision.
Yeah, they're beacons to Elithrax. And the dragons themselves can't affect them, to our understanding. The last one couldn't do anything about them. But others have, and it's becoming an issue.
We
didn't know.
We have stood by this door faithfully for a year, never leaving the child's side, always vigilant for their protection as well as the protection of the world. We know nothing other than it is believed to be a very coveted prize amongst those who would wish to do ill to the world.
That's probably what the Eladrin are coming for.
Unwittingly.
Or wittingly. Stories spread. Melvant had mythology about Telerion, even if they didn't necessarily know it or remember it. Manny, Tess does have proficiency in religion. Does the old man sound like anything in like either that or any arcane tales?
History?
I don't have proficiency, but I could still do a check if that's cool with you.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. It's actually the same one as last time. Not gonna be as good. Dirty 20.
You have heard of deities known to make themselves more an approachable form when intervening directly in affairs of the prime material plane.
Any particularly that, like, hey, they're known to travel with 3 birds or in the form of a beggar? I feel like I might know the answer, but I feel like it also would not be well known.
How extensive is your knowledge of, like, ancient gods?
I don't think that it would be super well. It'd be a point of interest, just in like, hey, this is clearly like surface level stuff. Isn't coming up with anything. Maybe let's look deeper.
Give me a religion check at disadvantage. Just
that's fair, because I think that I know who it is, and I think I know why she wouldn't know. On the guidance die, I rolled a 1. On one of the d20s, I rolled a 1. And on the other d20, I rolled a 1.
So is that a grand total of 3, or is that just like a bunch of ones?
Just 2.
I mean, just the 2, and then my plus 10 is a 12.
Okay.
Wow. I don't know shit.
It is quite the common practice of gods who wish to intervene directly in the prime material plane. It's a pretty common thing. So you could come up with like a list of a bunch.
Yeah. And I do share that as just like, hey, here's a just theory. I don't know if it's relevant. We got more pressing matters, but could maybe be a god. Also, Gwendolyn's apparently ancient and like
Oh.
pulls out a notebook and like writes down. I think Gwendolyn might be a dragon, maybe, and
Oh.
shows the other two.
We definitely knew she wasn't on the level.
Yeah. So
And-
far, that's been the juiciest tidbit that
Yeah,
I've picked up was, wow, Gwendolyn old.
and dragons can't pick up the orbs, so if she wanted the orbs, and she like stole away with that one that we did bring back, could
What?
be something.
What are you basing that off of? Because I don't remember anything about.
Talarian told us that he could not touch the orb.
Okay, but
that he, yeah.
we can't necessarily extrapolate from that no dragon can touch the orbs at all.
Fair. That's fair. Talarian
What's the top?
also didn't. Yeah. Yeah, it could just have been him. Fair. But the one is also here, and the child has clearly not like done anything with it. Like it seems like it's more of a control rod that they don't want to mess with. But
Go ask him.
that's conjecture.
I feel really sorry for these guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope they had like a bank account that's just been building up interest this whole time.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Like, oh yeah, you own Baldur's Gate now.
I bought a couple little places in this little tiny town called Neverwinter. That place will never take off, man. It's just warm water harbor, big deal. It's still fucking snowing. But anyway, I bought all the coast. Maybe it'll turn into something. Who knows?
I wouldn't mind the Neverwinter Castle having a new tenant right about now.
I think it's time for us to meet the child.
Well, here's the thing, right? You guys were put here to guard the orb and the child, but you were put here to guard the orb. It's not safe here anymore. We actually got here first for once, but I don't know how much time we have before somebody else shows up to take it. Someone is clearly trying to get to them all and activate the beacons. And we can't let that happen. So we certainly can't leave that orb here.
And Baron listens to Daemion and looks up at the night sky in the ceiling. Yes, that's what it was the other night. When I told you, it looked like the stars had moved. That's what it... Okay. And suddenly they're going to kind of get a little defensive. And how do we know you're not here to steal it?
You don't. But at least we come here bearing the blades with knowledge of what it is you're here to do. We could have just come in here and tried to strike you down, and the thought crossed my mind. You may not be so lucky next time.
They look at each other, and Farrell, yes, Paladin, I sense this. However, we swore oaths, both of us. You understand that commitment. And
What if you're relieved?
More importantly, what are the tenets of the oath you swore?
Baron, the one to the north, is going to stand up. I came from a long line of curious intellectuals, always looking to the stars, seeking to predict that which came from afar to hurt those closest to me. And Farrell, the one on the south, I was chosen because I was fearless, pragmatic, capable fighter. Not only should I be required to slay a dragon, but as well to have the wisdom to know when to protect them as well.
Is that all?
We do no harm to the child, lest it harms innocence. We care for it, just like any other creature. A highly intelligent, exceptionally powerful, but in the end, kind and curious. We see to his general well-being. Might be an incredibly powerful creature, but he's still isolated and of this world and subject to all of its trappings. And there are times we worry that its mind is not well.
What led to him being imprisoned, to your knowledge?
We do not know. We only know that this is a result of the culling, that certain dragons were preserved in vaults like this to potentially live everlasting lives, either as tools of warlords and conquest, or as a reserve in case a larger evil makes its way and rises up across the lands. And beings of great power are needed.
Wow. It is a good oath that you have sworn, and you have fulfilled it for much longer than anyone could have asked of you. You've sacrificed much, how much you don't even realize. If you were to be relieved, what would you do?
I would return home to my wife and my child. I would see the growth of the world that I have sought to protect and gave a none too small portion of my life to ensure its safety. I would like to enjoy the fruits of that labor. See the world.
I understand.
Again, like I know it's going to take some time to take in, but I'm the third generation at least descended from somebody who was sworn to protect these vaults.
Your
It,
God.
it might adjusting your expectations to your descendants being the ones you greet might soften that. But at the end of the day, that's your journey. But I don't. Having expectations can hurt more.
You suffer under the weight of expectations, a condition brought upon by a curse for one of your ancestors not fulfilling the oath of your family. We've seen it before. All descendants of those who refuse service suffer from this until one rejoins the dynasty and fulfills the oath of their kin. This condition continues just as the service to the dynasty would.
You're honestly not telling me anything I haven't figured out.
I know you suffer.
Yeah.
Not just you, but others.
Thank you for confirming. It's better to know. And to the others, I say, like, yeah, we hadn't quite had time to go over the visions. That's what the orb showed me.
You two are entitled to whatever life you have remaining. And if in order for that to happen, you must be relieved of your burden, then I will shoulder it for you.
He perks up. It is not an easy burden, and as you surely know by now, not one filled with much guidance from our masters. But you are here for the exact reason that I was here, and why I was chosen, and why this has been the most fulfilling oath of my entire... He gets choked up a little bit at the kind of gravity and understanding it. If what you're saying is true, how long his life has gone on and how long he's dedicated himself to this. Even if my line has died and everyone I knew has perished during my watch, seeing the world that has flourished since I've been down here and has grown and learned and created beauty. I may not see my family again, but I have granted the world license to see theirs for all of these years. And I would thank you for even a moment of an opportunity to see the lives of those protected by my duty.
I hope that when you leave this place, you can find your descendants, or theirs even, and know the fruits of your labors.
Thank you. And Baron begins to look at the sky and looks down at Tess. My child, I'm sorry for the for the revelation about your kin. We do not mean to judge. Our burden is not for everyone, clearly. We also believe that to speak for generations is unfair. This curse, this condition is unfair. And were it up to me, I would remove it in a heartbeat. Alas, oaths, even unfair ones, are binding and powerful, and all imply an air of sacrifice. Will you?
I don't blame my ancestor, and I don't blame you or any of those things needed to happen the way that they did. It's better to have answers than spend my life chasing something that's completely shrouded in mystery we don't even know exists. That's a lot more years than I can count. I have a kind of selfish question. The people I don't know if you know. If one member of the bloodline took up their duty again, would the curse be removed for everyone in the bloodline? If the duty were fulfilled.
Only one member of your bloodline need fulfill the oath at a time to cure the curse across everyone.
And I don't know if I'm exactly what you're looking for in a paladin, but yeah, I'll take it.
You're intellectual.
Absolutely.
You're curious. You're industrious. You're analytical. It is everything that the Watchers ask. The use of intellect and reason to predict that which people cannot conceive of, cannot even imagine, cannot even pretend to conceive of. The land of intellect and of reason is what my order requires. And you, Tesserana, are perfect.
Far from it, but I hope I can do what needs to be done.
Very well.
And if it helps my dad, then that's enough.
They stand up and formally draw their swords. Come forth.
Baron's the one on the north?
Yes.
Okay.
They're going to walk up to you, sword out, kneel. Baron's going to start with their sword, touch Tess on each shoulder. Swear this oath to watch the night for dangers from the distance and beyond. Swear this oath to maintain life across all of the planes. And swear this oath knowing as an agent of good, you seek the protection of all.
I swear.
Farrell is going to look down at Daemion. Same thing. On the shoulders. Swear this oath to be fearless and pragmatic. Swear this oath to show that you are capable and wise. Swear this oath knowing that you may not only need to protect the dragon, but one day you may be called upon to slay it, and may take this oath in search of the wisdom to know when is when. Arise, new members of the Dynasty Dragoon, Tesserana, the Watcher, and Daemion, the Dragon Slayer. May your oaths be fulfilled, and may you find success in the protection of all living creatures. They take deep bows. Baron turns around, unlocks the very large door. They're going to look at everybody involved. Our oaths have been fulfilled and have been passed on to two most noble and most capable members of this order. May you carry this oath with the solemn responsibility required, and may you protect us all as we have for all of these years. And they're going to start to walk up, and as they walk, you can see them kind of posture raised, a little quickly, kind of making their way out of there, smiles on their faces. The childish voice erupts. Hey, where are you going? Are you not going to tell me any more stories? And you can see them both kind of look back and stop for a minute. No, we're not. Our time with you has been remarkable. This has been absolutely one of the most incredible experiences of my life, to associate with a being such as yourself and to learn so much has truly been the greatest blessing of my life. But I must return home. We must return home, and we leave you in the hands of very capable new friends with many new stories who will take care of you just as we have. And the childish voice once again pipes in. You're really leaving? Like for good? I'm sorry, but we are. Oh. Well, okay. Don't be sad. We'll be back. You know, we'll go out there and we'll get some news stories for you. How about that? News stories? Yeah, we'll get you some news stories. But we can't do that staying in here. And so we're going to go out and get some news stories. And we'll be back real soon, okay? Okay. In the meantime, be nice to your new friends. And give them a chance, okay? Okay. All news stories. And they make their way out of the vault, closing the door behind him, and you hear
I do call
good
right before they leave. Is there anywhere we get our armor, or
Is there CIF?
the child will enjoy that. Just ask him.
okay? Don't get lost, please.
Okay. And they close the door behind them, and you just hear this childish voice. News stories, news stories, news stories, news stories. Well, come on in, new friends. It's story time.
Yeah.
It sure is.
Banquo will walk up in between the two of y'all, and just kind of looking at y'all, somewhat admiring, this kind of dedication that Banquo himself definitely doesn't have. And he'll just say, well, you guys got way deeper into this than I did.
I don't mean to be dramatic when I say that I was born deep in this, but that's a little bit the breaks.
I just couldn't let them keep doing this. It's unbelievable to think that a person could spend so long in service to an oath and at the same time to be abandoned by those they swore it to.
And to think that you're only... I'm sorry, go ahead.
They deserve better.
Yeah. To think that they thought they were only giving up a short, measurable time, and now everything that they've ever known is gone.
Yeah, kind of have to wonder. Well, I was going to say kind of have to wonder where everything got tied up, but I guess about a year after they got here. Probably.
Well, ready to tell your stories?
Ready to make some, I think. Manny, incidentally, how am I feeling right about now?
You feel great. No stiffness, no fatigue, no nausea, no headache from the light. It is almost... You imagine the only time you would feel this alleviated of your burden would be your true death.
That's intense.
It was pretty intense.
Yeah, a little intense. Yeah, I mean, I've still got the prosthetics, obviously, but I feel better than I ever have. So I think as long as it doesn't take too long to ripple out, hey, this is a solution. At least till, I don't know. If we can get this known to more people, then maybe we can get relieved. We're supposed to be talking to a kid right now. Sorry, I'm getting distracted.
Not exactly looking forward to it.
Take your time.
I don't know what to expect.
Neither
The
do
worst
I.
that could happen is a dragon child in the Feywild who wants to know about your past. And you just swore an oath about it. What's the worst that could happen?
No, I mean, hasn't the thought crossed your mind that it's already been corrupted?
I do have to wonder. It comes down to if we can trust it or not. And it did kind of try to beat us up outside.
It's got to be connected.
Spitballing worst case scenario, the stories are making it stronger. But I have no idea what we're walking into.
I just think it's got to be connected to what's going on with these Eladrin.
Oh, 100%. It not necessarily the child, but something is connected to something about him is connected to this.
I can't wait to ask him.
if he knows, if he answers. Shall we?
Let's do it.
All right. You step forward.
I'm gonna.
Go.
Yeah, I'm gonna like pull that door open because testing out my beefiness.
As you step forward to grab the unlocked door, the laughter builds and crescendos just as the door opens. And inside is a very lush kind of, I don't know if a knoll is the proper, not the creature, the knoll, but the geographic feature. Little rolling hills, lush and green, beautiful. And in the middle, just sitting there. There we go. Is a giant Moonstone Dragon just rolling around in the grass like a dog. Behind it, against the far wall, you notice the familiar trappings of the formal part of the Dragon Vault. The large map with the X's, the altar, the orb, the starry sky roof, and just this big, giant, gargantuan actual creature just rolling around in the grass. Story time! And on that note, we will take our mid-show break. It is currently 8:32. We're going to take about a 10-minute break and come back and do Dragon Baby in the Feywild, What Could Go Wrong, which I think was the exact words. So yeah, we're going to take our quick break. To everybody watching, thank you. As always, I know we've been a little sporadic with the schedule, but I love seeing people check in to check us out. As always, to our amazing cast, just doing it again one last time. You've been great. We will see you back in about 10 minutes, and we will jump into the baby dragon in the Feywild. So stick with us. I hope to see you when we come back. All right, we are back after our break. The party recently just leveled to 15. Over the break, we'd set it up. This is the time when it takes effect for them. So for those of you watching, congratulations to the party on achieving level 15 in this campaign. Our first level up. Narrative benchmarks be narrative benchmarks sometime. All right, so the party, Tess having recently taken the Oath of the Watcher into the Order of the Dynasty Dragoon, and Daemion having taken the secretive Oath of the Dragon Slayer, also joining the Dynasty Dragoon. Banquo just sitting around watching popcorn, not committing to anything. They have relieved the poor half-elves who'd believed they'd been there for a year. Boy, are they in for a shock. And they make their way into the secured portion of the Dragon Vault. The map on the far wall, the altar, the orb, and this time, for the first time, an actual dragon inside the confines of the vault. Not just eggs, not chilling out on the patio, but like actually inside. So doing what he's told. Go ahead and move your tokens on into the room. Tess, eager to tell a story.
Do not pay any mind to the ominous red circle.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I saw that.
I didn't know if that was one of you accidentally when the when
definitely had a
when the
moment.
fog
Did I
was
do that?
when the fog was still on. Okay. All right. As you make your way into the room, the Moonstone Dragon you see, almost like a jade stone color, very reflective, very brilliant, and not like an organic dragon scale that you've seen, not your extensive knowledge of dragon scales, but more comprised of little stone scales as opposed to like an organic hide that you would be familiar with. It glitters in the light like glass, and it just rolls around, wings all spread out. Yay! Story time! It says from its back, leaning its head back to look at you as you would appear upside down to it as it just continues to just roll in the grass. 1 second. So I guess if we're gonna be friends, I should introduce myself. God damn it. Samni, I had it. I had it. I am Somniathrin, the Moonstone, Dragon of the Fae, purveyor of the finest of pranks, known childish giggle, collector of stories, and general fun being. It is a pleasure to meet your acquaintance. I have been quite popular lately, and I am just so thankful that the parade just continues. And so who are you? Let's start with my new sworn friends. Hey, by the way, you'll forgive me if I drop the whole child thing. It took me a little while to realize that they were going to be here a lot longer. And if they saw me grow as I have, I'm afraid they wouldn't have, kind of dealt with it very well. So for however many years we've been here, I've had to be this child. And it's been a bit much. I'm gonna be honest with you. If you're more comfortable, I can giggle and be the child. But just if it's okay, I would just rather address you as a being seeking knowledge to those who have sworn an oath to protect me.
Why didn't you tell them the truth?
They were dragon slayers.
That their masters had lied to them. I mean, isn't that what your kind does? Am I responsible to make them realize their own nature, your own nature?
Responsible, no. But it would have been kind.
Look, I probably know even less than they do about what's going on here. I was told to be here. I was brought here when I was a child and told that the safety of all living things in the feywild and the prime material depended on me staying here. And so I did. And being of the Fae and understanding of the Fae, what's 1,000 years to the Fae?
So let me get this straight. Our kind are nothing but liars and deceivers, but you were told that all this hinged on you staying here and you just did it.
I wasn't told by one of your kind.
Oh, that's even better.
Who were you told that?
Children are very impressionable. We are a very specific creature. And in the end, our baser natures are to respect size and strength. And As a child, I knew that being that told me to stay here, if I had disobeyed, I would be dead. And so I stayed. It's not a bad existence. I mean, I live in the feywild. Like, come on. I mean, you know, there's way worse places. Look, it's beautiful in here. I can make it whatever I want. And it goes from like this lush green hillside to like big trees, large autumn foliage just falling, the crunching, like the air temperature, everything. Oh, it's not good enough? Okay. And then suddenly it's snow covered and freezing and everything's barren. I mean, I can make this place whatever I want. People come to see me, want to tell me stories. It's great. I mean, you know, I believed my master, and I bet you they did too.
We can see how that turned out.
If I could trouble you, I want to test a theory, a little idea I had. Could I see the room without any illusions, or is it an illusion? Is it that it's base nature? What's your specialty here?
You know, it's, and he kind of like looks around for a second and I guess it's this, and see him kind of like shiver a little bit, and it's returned to basically just like a plain green patch of like just regular everyday grass. At the end, this is still the Fae, and you know, the Fae gonna Fae, but the rest of it's to suit my mood. I like it being outside. I like the sun. I don't get to see it very often, obviously.
The skills are pretty impressive. As I look around, Manny, do there appear to be any gaps in the walls or spots where the things just don't look quite right?
Nope.
Okay.
Aside from the difference of material, this appearing a much more kind of probably like wood derived material for the walls and everything, usually being stone. Everything seems to be just like the previous two, like unbelievably well constructed. Very little gaps in the stone, almost all uniform. Just built by something with either a great amount of knowledge or power, or both. Just a different theme.
You seem to have a better idea of how time passes than they did.
I'm of the Fae. You know, this is how time just passes to me. They're dealing with two different existences. They're prime material, everyday, boring form, and the form made better and worse by everything here. They looked great for their age. Not as great as I have them outside, but you know, they look great. Been here what, like 1,000 years? I don't know. It's wild. I mean, he kind of looks at himself. I mean, I don't know how much bigger we get.
What was the story with the everything outside on the bridge? That
Yeah.
little show.
I don't know who's coming to see me. When it's somebody one at a time, I don't care. When it's 3 adventurers such as yourselves, you're a little precautious. You see how people react to things. You just came running up here and stabbed the projections, then you proceed one way if you attempt to reason with them, or maybe act justifiably. We behave in a different way. Make no mistake, those 2 men that you just sent out would have fought to the death for me. So it is as much for the protection of those encroaching upon us as it is for mine. Well, now ours.
What about the Eladrin?
I mean, they're here. They're everywhere. I sense them in the forest. I've done my best to make sure they stay lost. We had one come through here, I don't know, a while ago. Seemed lost, seemed interested, and once he was shown in, started babbling incoherently about some homeland to be reclaimed, and his story just didn't make any sense. It was just a waste of my afternoon. And I sent him on his way, and every once in a while they show up and nobody wants to tell a story. They just seem to want to look around, and I imagine that's just how it's going to be.
So you don't know what's drawing them here.
Oh. He's going to kind of look at the orb behind him. I mean, he's going to kind of move out of the way and gesture towards it. It's probably a safe bet. Or he's just going to kind of gesture about himself.
It could be a beacon and railway center.
I mean,
Understood.
I mean, they were told that anybody who wants to attune to that thing is granted power over the being to which it is assigned. And he's going to point out a very sharp claw to himself. So
I've known Thamiothryn for 5 minutes, and if anything happened to him, I would kill everyone in the Feywilds and then myself.
Channeling your Rosa.
So
Yeah, I was making the joke with Raz earlier.
It's going to kind of stretch out, and I don't have to look like this. It's just, like I said, Faye, we can do whatever. Is this okay? Would you prefer something else? We're gonna be together for a while, apparently, based on the last guys. So, might as well just kind of establish how this is gonna go.
Honesty feels comfortable to me. What about you guys?
I don't care what they look like, but there seems to be a grave misunderstanding on how this is going to go. This place is not safe anymore.
I mean, 1,000 years says otherwise?
Yeah, wow. 1,000 years of the occasional visitor walking up to tell you a story. There is no comparison to the armies of Eladrin that are trying to get here and are being very militant about it. Not to speak of the, 2, 3 vaults we've already found, ransacked.
So I kind of be taken aback. Oh, what happened to, the dwellers of the vaults, if I may put it like that?
One is missing, and one is no longer living.
Okay.
We found a brood that is still alive, as far as I know.
So your story's a little bit more serious than we probably bargained for.
Wow. Okay.
there is somebody out there who's, as far as we can tell, already attuned to one of these.
Yeah, I think one of the guys, like your guards, my best theory is that he went against his oath in a kind of sideways manner. He might, if that's tied, he might be a little bit weaker. He might be easy to take out.
Ooh, okay. Wow. Oh, wow.
I'm gonna do a thing really quick, guys. I just kind of want to get a lay of the land out there. If anything, like if there's any drastic decisions to be made, can you just like grab me if I don't come back to myself right away?
Yeah.
Manny, I'm gonna connect to my familiar, which will make me blind and deaf as long as I have that, and I just want to kind of get a eye on the road that we came from and make sure nobody's quite followed us.
Okay. And that's where you're gonna kind of just go.
Yeah,
Warg.
Tess will sit down where pretty much where she's at, and she's gonna watch.
With the understanding that if through your familiar you saw something dramatic, you would snap back to your
reality.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, there goes
Back to
Bradley.
life.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just I have the ability to end that connection whenever I want. It's just that I don't know what's happening in the vault.
Okay. But you're coming back to what's going on in the room would be of your choosing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can like feel, but I don't have sight or hearing. I imagine I also have a sense of smell and taste now that I think about it, but that I'm not going to come back if somebody farts, probably.
Only one way to find out.
All right, well.
It smells like lavender. Man, the feywild is awesome. All right. So Tess slips out, and your familiar is what? You went with the owl?
Yeah.
Okay. So your owl's going to perch up in one of the large trees outside, keeping an eye on the approaching road. As you kind of fade out, just Dragon's going to kind of... She always do this?
Not always.
Okay. Just, I know we're supposed to like look out for each other, but I don't want to be responsible for constantly having to try to break her back if she just wants to be somewhere else. But okay. All right.
Her eyes in the skies.
Okay. So what's the plan here? You dismissed my seemingly immortal previous guards who didn't ask a lot of questions and didn't want to go anywhere. And now suddenly we all have to go. And where are we supposed to go?
The next vault.
And what about me?
Well, you're an old and powerful dragon. Do you have any ability to disguise yourself?
Yes. Short answer, yes.
This is why I ask what is causing them to be drawn here, because if it's the orb, we can deal with that. But if they're being drawn to the dragon, which seems kind of unlikely, but what do I know?
Yeah.
I really don't know how to solve that problem. I suppose the most realistic approach would be to remain on the move. if they're just being constantly drawn to something, then
Make
if
sure
that
it's to
thing-
where we used to be.
well, yeah, just as long as it keeps moving, it's really hard to be drawn to anything.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, I think you've got it right there. Is we just have to keep moving.
It's too much we don't know.
He's going to get up and he's going to slide over to the altar and kind of sit there and look at it. I've always wondered what this thing did. And, I might have overheard you outside talking about that you've touched it.
One of the biggest mistakes I've ever made.
Ooh, that's not a kind of ringing endorsement. And he just kind of looks at it. I've had a lot of time to look at this thing and to hear everything that was told to me, and never really knew if it was true. Just the child took the word of somebody who he was scared of, and I've never questioned any of it.
Well, I was never given that opportunity. I was told nothing. It wasn't until after we had already touched the orb that we learned what we know now. Every single one of these that gets touched by a creature brings us closer to this being, this destroyer of worlds, coming here. Something I'm trying to avoid at all costs.
I hear you. Living's pretty rad. So I genuinely want to help you, but you also have to understand. An understanding is not the same thing as being compelled to listen or obey. And I'd like to help, but let us not misstate our stations in this relationship. One of us is a kind, gentle, mischievous, eternal being of great power. The other group is 3 adventurers who need a favor from that first being. Now, what is it that you would like to do about the orb?
Not really sure what favor it is you're talking about. I haven't asked anything of you. Not once. Think you're trying to set some sort of terms here to put you on some greater negotiating platform. That's cute.
I am and have been for almost 2,000 years locked away precisely because of my negotiating advantage.
I'm going to remind you too, this is why I didn't want to come here.
I'm gonna not hear that.
What is it you
Manny,
suggest
did you see
we
my
do?
message?
Oh.
Just because I don't know what time pacing is like.
What is it that you wish to do?
I mean, not to sound too grandiose, but at this point, I'm trying to save the world. What is it that you want? But you clearly seem to be driving at something that you are trying to get out of us. What is it? Don't waste my time.
I wish to be left alone and to remain here as I have.
Sold. All right, guys. Let's get the orb and leave him alone.
Yeah.
Slide up in front of the orb.
No, it's like that.
As we mentioned earlier, we are all products of our nature. And the product of my kind, is a predilection for a certain item to add to their hoard. And while not materialistic or into shiny things like my simpler chromatic cousins, I seek hoards of the mind, of tales recounted, of bravery, of moments when your kind truly shows why you are a wonder and a marvel to creatures like myself. A story from each of you for the orb.
I've had enough experiences on this plane to know the tricks of your kind. What have you to gain from a story?
Fuel for imagination while I sit here for thousands of years, obedient, alone, isolated. Like any child, stories fill my mind, occupy my time, and give me somewhere else to escape to while still confined to this space.
We really need some of those sending stones. Just give them one, you know? When we camp down at night, you know, be like, hey, this is what happened today.
Where are we to get you?
He just lays down with his head in his, just listening in.
Tell it again. All right, one more time, and then you got to go to sleep. All right, okay.
Manny, I've been timing the conversation, and with my message of like, hey, she'll stay out 5 to 10 minutes. This is kind of when she opens her eyes. Did she see anything on the road? Any weird activity?
The owl can hear like the Eladrin marching off in the distance.
Towards us or away?
Headed towards you.
Coast is clear for now. The army is not close, but they are coming. We need to figure something out quickly.
Oh,
I mean, if we have ways of shaking them up. Did I see the Fae or the previous guards when I was owling out?
No, they're long gone.
Oh.
Yeah, they split. So I get the running thing in. Allow me to live brave and heroic lives beyond these walls, so that my sacrifice and your safety aren't simply ways to justify keeping me imprisoned and isolated.
I think I missed something here. What are we aiming towards?
Your compatriots and I have come to a tentative agreement in which I will remain here as I always have. You will depart, most of you, with the orb. And in exchange, I require a story to feed my imagination and to allow me to not be so lonely in here.
Daemion, we know what happens if the orb leaves. Like what the impact it would have on the vault.
You're extrapolating from a single instance again.
We have to. The stakes
No.
are too high for us to take risks. And
That
we
one
know.
was already dead.
What do you mean already dead?
That one was already dead.
It
The
wasn't.
orb.
It knocked me the hell out. It wasn't dead.
Was it not the undead dragon that was being
was a
kept
dragon
alive
that-
by the orb?
It was a dragon that controlled undead. Manny, that was our understanding of the situation, right? Like there
It
was
was-
no sign that it
it was-
itself was undead.
No, it was a topaz dragon. They collected undead.
And
And removing the orb killed it? Or was that only because it was outside the vault? I guess I wouldn't know that. I just don't remember what our information led to, like what conclusions we came to for.
What's the thing is we don't know anything, like,
Yeah.
ever.
well, we know now about the attunement, and that there seem to be fail safes if it needs to move. It just isn't a total mess of like half finished ideas. And I think we need to be cautious about impact here, because you just swore an oath that, trust me, like it's not good if you break it. We have to be careful. But we also kind of have to be quick. Yeah, I know.
Slow is smooth. Smooth is fast.
If we're trying to go the other one left, and the guard left with it, I'm going to go ahead and say that it's because he attuned to it and was able to leave. If we need to leave, I think that I need to try, one of us needs to try attuning to it. And I'm willing to do that if that's our plan.
It just sounds like a bunch of guesswork to me.
That's how anything is at the end of the day. Like you take your best guess at what's going to be the right answer. I'm pretty good at guessing. Like, not to be too up my own ass about it, but I'm pretty good at guessing so far.
I don't know that that's true. You have a nasty habit of being a little too trusting.
See the man in the mountain. That this was the direction that we need to come to figure out what was going on with the Eladrin. Like, doing pretty well with like getting some confirmation of my theories.
I don't know. I feel like that last one was Banquo.
What was that?
The idea that we needed to come to the Feywild to figure out what was going on with this vault.
Tess was straight up saying from the beginning, like, hey, if stuff's happening with the Eladrin, like, I think that that's not a coincidence that the vault just got broken into. If there are other ideas.
Take his deal. Give him our stories.
I didn't really see what was wrong with that plan to begin with.
I guess
I
just
know.
taking the orb out. What's up?
Yeah, I know we can't leave it here. We've screwed
Yeah,
up
I'm not.
every vault so far, either by getting there too late or touching something we shouldn't have.
Or losing the orb.
Don't remind me.
Sits down and sits upright like a panda, back to the altar and the orb. All right, so who wants to go first? Something kind of light. It's not. Eternity's a long time. I don't want to be depressed. So if we could keep these stories light and, heroism, that kind of thing. Whoever would like to start.
Not exactly my specialty.
I'll tell you of the first time I left the Underdark.
Ooh. That sounds interesting.
I was only a boy, a child really, but it was my family's tradition that when we hit a certain age, we would be taken up to the surface for the first time. My family was in charge of a trade route between the surface world and the Underdark, and it was a tradition to get our eyes accustomed to the light in our adolescence until we reached a certain age where we were considered worthy of going back down and joining the family business and taking up arms for the state. And so I went up, and I'll never forget the intensity of the sun. The very first time I saw it, it was nothing but blinding. And it was then that I had my first battle, when our outpost was attacked just through coincidence by raiders. And I was told to hide in the cart, and I ducked down, and every time I looked over the edge, another one of my kinsmen was falling. And I kept telling myself to pick up a blade, pick up a dagger, pick up a bow, and try to fight back. And I kept telling myself, now, any second, now. And I was too stricken with fear. And when it quieted down, I finally looked over the edge again. And all of my family members that had brought me up had fallen. The bandits had passed through. They didn't even bother looting. They were just on their way and found a little fun. And I had to return back down to the Underdark to tell my extended family what happened.
That is so sad. It's not what I asked for. I'm going to take you being here as the heroic part of that story that I will accentuate going forward.
Well, I took up magic to
I'm sorry
make
that
sure
happened.
that I was, make sure I was never without the ability to defend myself. And I've made a name for myself and carried on my family's legacy.
And here you are talking with a Fey dragon. Look how far you've come. Isn't the world just a marvelous place? That was a great story, if nothing else, of perseverance of your kind. Also got me thinking, I've never seen the sun, like the real sun, the prime material sun. All I've got is this, and you can see him just go from day to night, day to night, day to night real quick in his vault. But yeah, not the real sun, and I'm certain not the real stars. But yes, great story. Thank you. Now for my two paladins. Who wants to go first?
So you want something light, huh? Something fun,
Something heroic.
heroic. I don't know. Light and heroic are often not
Incompatible?
hand in hand.
I'll take heroic.
Yeah. Heroic.
I mean, seriously, your master chose you for a reason. Look at
My
you.
master.
Look at you. Slid right in. Sworn member of this eternal order. Whoever picked you knew what they were doing. You gotta have some stories.
See, now I gotta think of something heroic but not depressing. That's not cool. All my stories are depressing.
Okay, Sasuke.
Dude,
It
I
wasn't so
fucking
bad.
I rode an edgelord. God damn it! Like
Oh, I know.
Burning village,
I know what I'm about.
burning village. Man, there's a theme here.
Bars just like Burning Man.
Last known survivor.
I mean, school wasn't so bad.
I don't know. The end of that story got pretty fucking dark. Or at least the most recent chapter.
I don't think I know that story.
Oh, really? You don't remember the funeral?
I said school.
Yeah.
What did
Well, the most recent chapter, that story for me was, oh, look, we ran into a guy from school.
Oh, Tesserana doesn't remember that guy.
Wish I could forget.
I mean, she remembers him now. She doesn't remember that she went to school with him. She's like, oh.
Maybe that's a story we can tell. That's heroic. Not that long ago, we were hired to prove to a number of settlements that there was no danger.
Maybe it was no dragons. Kind of.
No undead. And so we set out to do as we were contracted to do. And we definitely found undead. And unfortunately, a lot of destroyed settlements. And when we returned to report what we found, we discovered that the man who had hired us had taken control of the city. And everyone had become gripped in fear of this man and his peons. Everyone was afraid to speak out. There were undead knocking down the doors. But then we show up to tell them that the danger's over, that we've taken out the controller of the undead. But the man in charge, so adamant in his ways, did not want to admit his faults. And when he had his bodyguards take up arms against us, I struck him down where he stood. And at the funeral of the man he had killed in cold blood, I presented his head to the city. And such rejoicing you have never seen in your many, many years of life. For all the citizens were finally free of his tyranny, and a great cheer was had by all that I will remember for the rest of my days.
That was a great story, and man, am I glad you have sworn to protect me. Woo! Woo. It makes me feel a lot better. That was great. Overthrowing the government, taking care of everybody, righting the wrongs. Love it. So glad to have you on board. And our last story before we proceed into whatever it is that you have planned. We have heard a tale of overcoming tragedy to find themselves in a quest to save the world, apparently, right? That's the thing, right? We're both in this together. And a story of vengeance. Perhaps a story of kindness and compassion, of wonder or of reason prevailing would be nice. But hey, I'm open to whatever. Totally new stories. I can't wait to hear them. This is just the first one.
Manny, is there anything, like, because, you know, as the usual disclaimer, Tess is way smarter than I am. Could I do like an intelligence check or something for any pieces of the puzzle with like the orb and its connection to dragons and their ability to survive once the orb's gone?
Okay.
Like, she's just kind of going over in her head. And she is going to tap herself with the enhance ability wand for Fox's cunning. She's just trying really hard to think her way through things. I'm going to add a +5 to it with a flash of genius. 24.
He's not mentioned once anything about his life and the orb being inextricably tied. And even though you had not come back from your familiar, Daemion, Banquo, and the dragon seem to be of the understanding that it has no issues if the orb was to depart upon receiving your 3 stories.
Got it.
He seems perfectly ready to live up to his end of the deal, and has not mentioned anything about it.
He also might not have been as dangerous as Telerion, to be fair.
What's this one gonna do? Like roll up on you, be like, "Hey, what are we talking about?" Look, man, I'm just here for some gossip. Then I'll fuck off, okay?
Just sucking shit. Leave me alone.
Yeah. You got a tabloid or something?
Need my fix. All right. Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. These guys are the big adventurers. I mostly built things until very recently. I don't have a lot of my stories yet, but I kind of come from a long line of stories. One of them's the reason I'm here. But I told somebody else along the road this story. My mother, was some kind of nobility near Cormier. She didn't talk about it a whole ton. And she wasn't very happy. So she decided she was going to sneak out on her birthday, set out on her own. Made a pretty good way of it out in the woods and found her way to somebody who'd take her as a squire. She really loves stories of knights, so that's where she went, or the direction she went, and she was good at it. And one day she found these riders who fought from the back of soaring hawks. She was a halfling, so she, it fits a lot better than a human would, trust me. And she found this group of heroes that were protecting the North, and one of them, as like a boon for joining, gave her this companion who was a dire falcon named Strike, and we actually Strike still. He's pretty old nowadays, but he still lives by our farm, hunts a lot. And her first couple missions, she traveled with this bard named Toucan Sam. He was this
bards.
Bright, colorful.
They make the best guests.
He was this bright, colorful Aarakocra, and as much as they went through really hard times, there was once her first adventure with them, actually. Their healer went down, and details are a little fuzzy on how it all happened, but he came back as some form of treant within a couple hours. He was a cleric of Sylvanas. Sorry, I'm not as good a storyteller as Banquo.
It's fine. I just saw a treant. They're fascinating.
Yeah, that's the one we were talking to before.
My story he liked. What the fuck?
So she and this cleric reborn, and Toucan Sam, they fought their way through this orb of magma, this sphere of magma that undead had infested. It was one of the hardest fights she's ever been in, and they fought their way to the core. That was just shrapnel and monsters and horrors. And Toucan and my mom kept their spirits up the whole time, and they managed to put down the threat before it expanded beyond that part of the city.
That story had everything. That was great. That was great. Well done. Yes. So, I would offer you to stay as long as you'd like. I could use the company. I understand that it seems as if there is a pressing task at hand for which you need this artifact. But as you have now sworn yourself to protect me, I imagine can't argue with you. Your stories are appreciated, and they will serve me as I stay here and allow your lives to continue, I guess. That's what they say. Take the orb, protect it. You obviously know more about it than I do. Do not let it fall into the wrong hands. It's going to move out of the way.
All right, so more carefully this time. We'll have to pack it away without touching it. Although, in retrospect, I'm wearing fucking gauntlets. What the fuck am I worried about?
And it's got the little, like, chainmail little, like, veil over it.
Let's say balaclava.
You still have that other one, Tess?
Oh, the other veil?
Yeah.
Yeah, I should pull it out of my bag.
I should be able to sandwich it between two of them.
Under the sandwich.
Pack it away in a leather bag or something for now. We'll have to come up with a better solution down the line, but
Yeah, I might need to stop by town to see if we can wrangle up some magical luggage.
honestly, I might just make a container out of steel and just seal it in.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Lead would be a better idea. Maybe.
I'd need a lot of it.
You need a lot of it, but you can't divine through lead, typically.
That's a really good point from our arcane specialist.
Or we could just make the box out of steel and then coat that in lead.
And then coat that in
Yeah,
gold,
that's-
coat that in mithril, coat that in adamantine, then more lead.
It's like a Kindle.
Vibranium.
Sometimes the more practical voice is needed.
The never-ending gobstopper of
I was just thinking that too. In my head, I was going like a vibranium gobstopper.
Oh, God.
of this MacGuffin at its most benign description to article of harbinger of death and doom upon everything. Yeah,
But hey, it can't be crit against.
fine.
Oh wait, no. That's what we'll do. We'll make like spherical shells, and then we'll put something really strong on the outside, like adamantine, and I'll weld a fucking chain to it and put it on a stick.
Oh, I thought you were going more direction of like Russian nesting orbs.
Well, that first, but then finish it by turning the whole thing into a mace, a flail.
Flail,
I'll
yeah.
mace you good.
An adamantine flail, no less.
We take our duty very seriously here.
I promise you, I will not let that thing out of my sight.
Bonk.
I'll also make sure it's the last thing a lot of people see.
Mhm.
All right, so you're gonna grab it.
Yeah, 2 veils, sandwich, maybe fasten with some string. I've got some string to keep them from falling off and put it away in a bag.
Yeah, I'll assist with Mage Hand.
Okay. As you walk over to it, you can see the dragon just very curious as to this whole thing going down. Even looks a little anxious himself. You managed to get it off. Banquo's mage hand right there to cup the bottom of the orb and show proper support. And it go where are you putting it?
In a sack.
I was waiting for it.
So you rest this large marble in a sack that hangs like a heavy coin purse.
Mm-hmm.
And
so there should be two, but we missed one.
All right, we're headed over. We're
So
headed over to
immature.
Thay. We'll take care of it. We're leaving it out.
I love you guys. And as it rests, you can see the dragon like all nervous, like about it, like, oh, cool. All right. Well, like I said, I believe this relationship needs to function on trust. I have given you the orb in exchange for the 3 stories that I asked for. I will allow you to leave with the artifact as long as I get to remain. Yes?
Just be careful. We don't know who's going to come after us.
What are they going to do? They don't have the orb. They can't control me. They're going to fight me? Ask me nicely? Without that orb, they can't do anything except die or leave.
With any luck, we'll find a way to communicate down the line. Maybe we'll have better stories next time.
I assure you that there will be a bridge of communication between you and I. And I don't know how to say this, but these Eladrin that you speak of are coming very close very soon. And I believe Banquo and Daemion, it is at this point that we best part. You to continue this quest to save the world, and Tess to remain here to continue to fulfill her oath, free of pain, free of the curse, while an eye always tuned to the stars, watching what lie in wait out there.
What do you mean? Why? You're not coming with us?
Yeah, I didn't really want to say anything earlier, but Oath of the Watcher. How am I going to watch him from anywhere else? You know?
But when we swore those oaths, I thought they said, to protect from, things coming from the stars. I thought you were swearing to stop this Illithrax like we've been trying to do the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I don't know how this goes when the orb and the dragon are separated, when both are part of the oath. Maybe one of us needs to watch one and one needs to watch the other. But if things get bad, part of why they kept the dragons was in case we need firepower. I need to make sure that we have that option if things get bad. And until I find a better answer, I'm not walking away from where I'm supposed to be. My dad gets to live. I'm staying here.
But we need you.
You're kind of the brains behind the operation.
We got a line of communication though. And I was thinking about something I can make. Maybe if maybe we don't spend the night here. Maybe I spend the night here and I work on something, which actually, sorry, I don't mean to get distracted. That does bring me to another point. What are your travel plans with that specifically? Because Gwendolyn watches us and it's going to be known, I think, that you have it.
Let her know. Honestly, her involvement is more or less meaningless to me at this point. She's done nothing but lie since the moment we met. I know what it is that I have to do now, and I don't need her to do it.
I still need to find her and get more answers. Based on what we've learned here today, there's a whole lot more to take her to task for.
Yeah. If there's any clues you need help working through, I'll try and find a way to get you guys aligned to me. I hope this works.
Well, at least I have one, I don't know if I would call it a way of communication, but, you've been using your magic all this time to help protect me. I've had it on my shield for what seems like quite a while now. It's not much, but if anything happens, if that magic disappears, I'll be coming right back.
I appreciate it. And yeah, I'll try and find something that's a little bit less concerning.
Yeah.
Because I'd like to just say hey as well.
Be nice if my first thought wasn't the worst.
Oh God. Oh gods, what's on fire now? And it'd be good to be able to talk to my parents for however long this has to take. I won't complain if you find somebody to take over my oath in a kosher way. And I do have an extra sword now if they need one, I guess, is a thing that I have.
Yeah. That's true. Did they keep theirs, or did they give them to us and then leave?
They gave them to you.
Yeah, so, man, I'm carrying so many fucking swords.
How many swords?
I gotta say, this is pretty great.
I gotta admit, this is pretty terrific.
Thank you.
I have to start wielding one in my mouth.
Peduncle, hold this.
Full bee.
You're gonna wield a sword in your mouth?
Peduncle's
Killer
now
bee,
like a
get one
sword
behind your
member.
elbows.
I said wield, not handle.
That's right. Continue.
I don't know what you're going to do with yours. Sounds like you're real excited about double fisting.
No, I was gonna give one to you guys so you can find somebody else to do this that can go home once in a while.
I got to carry another one.
I'll take it.
Don't touch it directly.
Yeah, I was about to say, that's not going to work out too good for you.
Yeah.
I think as long as he doesn't touch it directly, he's probably fine. Manny's smiling and I don't like it.
I'm gonna give you the
No.
Did you say no?
Yeah, Banquo don't give a fuck.
I'm gonna need an intelligence saving throw then, please.
I thought you might.
That's his surprised face.
It's important to give him a 6.
18.
All right.
And I'm pretty sure I'm next to Daemion, so that'll be 23. I was like, I have +0 to this. I was like, if I don't get a really high roll, I'm just fucked, and I'm fine with
5,
that.
9, 12, 16, 20. You're going to take 10 psychic damage. And as you grab it, it's almost going to try to like physically jump like away from you. But you get a hold of it, take a little jolt. And once it just seems that you're not trying to wield it, right? You're just trying to like just physically hold it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then stash it away.
Yeah. Once it seems that you're not kind of, trying to be all flashy with it and you're just trying to hold it, it kind of settles down a little bit.
It's scared.
If you give it a couple test swings.
It's more scared of you than you are of it. It kind of calms
Just turn
down.
and unguard the dragon.
Yeah. And you're just going to have like just kind of a headache, like deep, like behind your eye as a result.
That's fair.
For those who are departing, I would recommend you do so soon. Your Eladrin army is nearing upon us. I will take good care of Tesserana. I promise. Our security relies on a mutual trust, and I can think of nobody smarter or better to be responsible to look to the stars to tell us what is coming than her. You two off to save the world, collect more stories, and when you check in with your friend, please be sure to recount some of the great tales ahead of you.
You guys are going to be great. And think of no better person to take an oath with. Or to give a sword to. Then I'm going to hug him.
We'll finish this.
Yeah.
I know.
This is
It's not.
farewell. This isn't goodbye.
No.
It's not going to be 1,600 years this time.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. That'd be appreciated. The folks only have the one kid. Yeah. All right. We should get some kind of plan and gear, huh? Sam?
Yeah, I'm not worried. Be careful with that orb. Not everybody is as benevolent as you are. Some would seek to control me for ill gains.
Why is Daemion gigantic?
He's riding a horse now.
Of course.
Of course.
Horse is a horse, of horse, of horse.
If we're going to get out of here quickly, I can think of no better way. Peduncle, away!
I'll watch the exit, I think. Just keep an eye on you guys as you head out.
All right, Banquo.
Yep.
Time to go. Just
Uh-oh.
get on.
You do have the boxes. They might work. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll hop on the back of the horse.
You hear the marching.
Uh-huh.
The calls in Sylvan echoing throughout the first chamber of the room of the vault. Our weapon is through that door, men. Do not allow our destiny to be denied. We will take it at all costs. Is that understood? And an overwhelming cheer comes up, and you hear them begin to march very dramatically.
close the door behind us.
It slams shut.
And as we're leaving, I'm going to cast haste on myself, which will then apply it to my horse. And these guys are going to see a fucking blur.
Okay.
The only thing standing out will be a middle finger.
Bigby's hand.
Yeah, something like that.
No.
Or I'll throw up a couple of minor illusion, or a minor illusion of just the middle finger as we fly off.
Okay. And what? You're just gonna barge through the door and like Helm's Deep, just make your way on horseback like through the horde, knocking them about.
Honestly, I'm probably going to go around because, you know, who needs that?
Attacks of opportunity.
Well, that's a valid point, actually.
Yeah.
That's a very good reason to not just charge right through the middle.
Okay.
I was gonna say, can I just fireball the lot of them?
But I don't know that we necessarily got to kill them. They think they're doing good stuff for their people.
Yeah, dude. As it turns out, a hasted horse taking the dash action moves really fucking fast.
Okay.
Almost as fast as a monk.
All right. Daemion and Banquo, you're on the back of Peduncle too?
Yep.
Okay. You were going to just, like I said, like Helm's Deep, come plowing out, steer around like a blur, out the door, way past them. And Tess, as you stand there watching the blur of your friends ride away to continue saving the world, your new dragon friend looks down on you and says, "Today is the first story that we have with each other. Come on in, boys." And with that, we will end the episode for the night. And as many of you guessed, this is our friend Robin's last episode. We are going to miss them absolutely terribly. We hope that we gave Tess a decent pause, at least, to her story, as it is probably and hopefully not the end. I'm just going to... all right, let's just do everybody's little moment on the way out, and then we'll take a moment just to say our goodbyes to our friend. Let's start with Daemion. So, Daemion, new oath this adventure, new level, new kind of sense of, I don't know, paladin purpose. Feeling pretty good about your trip into the Feywild overall?
Nah, dude, sucks.
Okay.
Fucking met another asshole dragon. Had to leave a friend behind. Discovered maybe the saddest fucking story in the history of ever. 1,600 years of faithful service. Dude, this shit was miserable. Everybody in this story got done wrong in one way or another. This sucks. Also, fuck Gwendolyn. Like, nah.
Not in a good way.
Yeah, no. There's no version of this story where I don't at least try and kill her at some point.
All right. Very nice. All right. Awesome. Banquo, you watched a lot kind of transpire here. You rode off in a blur. Yeah, same question. How was your trip to the Feywild?
Yeah, Banquo is glad to have finally gone, but he doesn't think that he would be coming back if it weren't for the possibility that would be the only way for him to be able to see Tess again. Other than that, he has learned a lot, which is always his number one goal. And he has that just raises further questions, which is his other goal, is to just mysteries beget mysteries. And now he too wants to have a bone to pick with Gwendolyn. And again, not in a good way.
Okay.
And he's very sad.
All right. Last and not least, Tess, you have rid your family of this curse, allowing them to live much more fulfilled lives than they have without suffering, just simply by righting the wrong of a past family member. Easy sacrifice to make, yeah.
She's been driving towards this for long enough that it's not an easy sacrifice, but it's not one that she really has to think about. Like, she loves her dad. She's gonna do what she needs to at least temporarily put it on pause. Like, yeah. So yeah, not really any second thoughts, but oof. Yeah. Hard seeing friends go, but holding out some hope that that she gets to see them again. Sorry, there's a large beast on me. She's very distracting. I apologize. Also, I am big sap about D&D characters, so I'm a little bit choked up.
Oh, really? No one had any idea.
All right.
Yeah.
So that has been our amazing cast. Like I said, tonight we say goodbye to Robin. They've been an absolute pleasure, and one of the reasons why I work so hard for this Wednesday game is for the people who are here. It's not going to be the same without you. You're kind of the OGs of this situation, and we're going to miss you. We're glad to have had this time, and whenever Tessa's ready to come back, just let us know. All right?
I'm gonna need you to stop making me more of a sap
Okay.
in public. But yeah.
All right, well then piss off then.
Zoom call ended.
Yeah. All right.
Good riddance.
So this will be our last night with our original cast. Next week we'll be adding 2 new players. We're very excited about that. So tune in next week for episode 14. Dynasty of Dragons next Wednesday, 7 p.m. Also, hopefully we can get our shit together and finally do our season 2 premiere of our Eberron show. We've been lately a little cursed, but we are super excited to get back for that. That will be Tuesday night at 7 p.m. So to everybody who watched tonight, thank you so much to our friend Robin for the gift sub, for Shrimps 1MP for the new follow, and most importantly to our friend Robin. Thank you for all the fun and just brain melting that you have brought to this channel. I cannot think of more times that my whole world has been derailed that you have not been a part of it. So that is a consistent trend that I will always admire about you. Thank you for all the fun we've had together, and I hope to see you soon. Okay.
Yeah. Soon.
All right, y'all. We are out of here. It's Wednesday night. Check us out next Tuesday, or see us back here next Wednesday with our 2 new members. Thanks to everybody who watched tonight. We'll see you next week, and good night.